round in the books, 4 to go as we get closer to crowning state champions in Tennessee high school football. Good morning, everybody. Welcome into the 615 Preps Scoreboard presented by Fifth Gear Technology Concepts. Chris Brooks and Scott Burton here with you this morning to go over those first round scores and give you some updated brackets and go through a few highlights as well. Scott, good morning.
Good morning. I'm usually on a cup of coffee this morning. I'm actually on cup number 2.
It isn't that kind of morning, especially with the close games that we had last night. We kind of got fortunate because round one typically does not have many good games, and we happen to have 2. So those highlights are going to be fun to go through, and we'll get started with those here in just a moment. We want to go ahead and pull up the scoreboard from last night, and starting in Class 6A with top seeded Oakland. No problem with Shelbyville, 65-0 for the Patriots. 2 pick sixes for their defense. Eric Taylor and Trey Johnson each housed the interception returned, and they held Shelbyville to 1 of 11 on third down conversions and nothing of 2 on fourth downs. Defense was dominant as usual. So the Patriots move on and improve to 10-1 with the win. Overtime game between Stewart's Creek and Coffee County. The Red Hawks did not quite have enough to get it done. They fall 28-21 at Coffee County. It's Coffee County's first playoff win in school history, as I understand it, as Stewart's Creek's season ends with a 5-6 mark. And Coffee County advances to round 2 at 6-5. Blackman all over Cookeville, 49-20. They only had the ball for like 12 minutes and didn't really need it for that long, honestly, the way their offense operates. But, the Blaze now 9-2 in the year. Cookeville falls to 3-8 and finishes their season with that mark. So we talk about some highlights. Let's get right to them. Probably had to be the game of the night between Riverdale and Lebanon over there in Wilson County. Sean Heath gets this one started with a 1-yard touchdown. He's in the pile somewhere. Trust me, I was over there. 7-0 Lebanon with that Blue Devil touchdown. 2 plays later, Key Crowell says, I'm taking that. Rips it away from DJ Taylor and goes back 30 yards for a touchdown to put the Blue Devils up 14-0. And Lebanon's defense getting them points there. Jalen Abston here on the quarterback keeper from 4 yards out. It's 21-0. Blue Devils looking like a runaway winner, right? Well, not so fast. Riverdale beginning to find life in the second quarter. Braden Graham finding the end zone from 5 yards out on this touchdown run. It pulls the Warriors within 21-7. As Riverdale did have a couple of chances to score in the first half. Lebanon here. Abston third quarter. Key Crowell, 14-yard touchdown. The Blue Devils up 28-7. 3-touchdown lead. They're still in good shape, right? Well, not so fast. Into the third quarter. DJ Taylor here, third quarter. 22 yards for Riverdale touchdown, 28-14. They added one of the final play of the third quarter to cut it to 7. 41 seconds left. Taylor again, his second touchdown of the night. And it's tied at 28. So we're headed to overtime. Overtime possession for Riverdale. Graham rolling out to his right, finding Ryan Edmiston for a 6-yard touchdown as the Warriors took a 34-28 lead, but a bad extra point snap cost the Warriors a point. Lebanon scores, but an unsportsmanlike penalty puts them back 15 yards. This extra point could win it. No good. Wide left. And we play on a double overtime. Actually, this is... this was the last play. Unfortunately, we didn't have... Abston scored from 10 yards out. The Blue Devils hold on that play on defense, and they win it 41-34.
Guys, it's one of the best games, obviously, of the year in the area. Double overtime win over Riverdale. Your thoughts a few minutes after all of this madness ended?
Very, very emotional, especially us being up by 21 and then them coming to fight back. The emotions went very high.
But, we kept our heads up and we kept playing, and we just battled it out all the way to the end. Same exactly what they said.
The way last year's game went down, they were going to be out for revenge, and the way they came back in the third and fourth quarter. How did last year's win for you guys help you weather that storm in the second half and hold on to double overtime?
We knew that coming into the game, especially last year, beating them last year, we knew that we could compete with anybody. Especially this year, we knew that they was gonna come in with a chip on their shoulder, and they fought harder, but we pulled it out.
All right. Spiked the ball in the end zone, get an unsportsmanlike penalty, unfortunately. At that moment when that flag came out, how are you feeling at that point?
I really was like frustrated, but like I was really happy at the same time because it was my first touchdown I had in about like 4 weeks. Cause I've been out for a while, and I was so happy that I got it. And then after I got on the sideline, I realized the mistake I made, and then I had to pay up for it.
But you guys get to go on next week.
Yes,
so I
sir.
guess it's not that big of a deal,
Yes,
but you
sir.
probably got to run a little bit for that, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
All right, Key, your play in the first quarter, the strip and score, wasn't even really a strip, it was just a take and score. Tell me how that play developed, what you saw out there, how you were able to get it.
I was just coming off the block, and I seen the ball, and I just, you know what I'm saying, I went for it. I've been practicing that all week at practice. I put my hand on the ground, and I just, next thing you know, I was in the end zone.
Have you ever pulled it off that cleanly in a game before?
No, sir. No, sir. I done stripped the ball most of the times, but I ain't stripped it like that.
What a night.
Good night to be a Blue Devil.
I talked to Anthony about the penalty in overtime, and no, he can laugh about it now, but at the time it was pretty serious.
Well, you know, emotions running high. When he got it, he was determined to score. The way he hit that thing downhill is just like we draw it up, and he was excited to be back and excited to, you know, when you're told you may not ever play again, and then you get on this stage and make that play, he's excited. Anthony Krause made a lot of plays for us, so I'll take one for the team and get it. It's hard to take that penalty in that moment, but it is what it is, and you know, he spiked the ball and it is a penalty, and you know, again, no harm, no foul, I guess, in the end.
Yeah, I mean, the guys picked him up and got the job done defensively. I know the way Riverdale came back in the third or fourth quarter, just a determined effort on their part, certainly, but you guys were able to stand up to it.
Good football team, a lot of talent, and we knew, I told them at halftime they're not going to lay down. You know, they found a little stuff weak side, busted the inside zone on us, and then hit us over the top, and had the momentum. And then we were taking it back, and then Jalen caught a cramp, and you know, you know, it's one of those things. And luckily, when we got to overtime, we got it last, and we're able to get 7 and then hold them out of the end zone.
Yeah. He's playing the first quarter to make it 14-0. I asked him if he had ever pulled that off in a game. He said no, but that's probably as clean a steal as you're ever going to see.
Well, you know, we work that. We do turnover circuits, scoop and score, you know, strip the ball and everything. And Coach Fry made a good call. You know, they're an outside zone team, and we blitzed the corner. And Connor Gannon, I think it was, had him stood up and turned around, and Key just come in and took it away and gone. So again, that's Key Crowd being Key Crowd.
I know it's kind of on the spot, but if you had to rank this game as far as the games you've been a part of as a coach, where would it rank?
Oh, it's a good one. It's up there. You know, again, anytime you win a playoff game versus Riverdale High School, it's special. But to win it like this, and again, I don't know how many people that I felt like had kind of written us off in the beginning, middle of the year when we hit a little lull. But you know, we were excited in November, a long time ago. You know, we said we got to go through Murfreesboro. We know it. We know the 3 culprits over there: Riverdale, Blackman, Oakland. Some way, somehow, is going to be in Lebanon. And me and Coach Kreisky have talked about it for a week. Hate we had to play each other in the first round because you know, we feel like 2 very good football teams. Yeah. But you know, I'm proud of it. It's such a blur right now. I don't know where to think, but tonight I'll tell you it's number 1.
Well, I mean, that's a great win for you guys. Congratulations on that, and good luck in Riverdale next week.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Yeah, it's a really, really fun game to be a part of and cover last night, and a big win for Lebanon. And they knock out Riverdale for the 2nd straight year, and they'll head to Ray Hughes Stadium to take on the Patriots of Oakland in round number 2.
Well, for teams that are, you know, not too far apart, it's just turning into a little bit more of a rivalry than it's ever been. Of course, you know, the last 2 years, you know, knocking Riverdale out probably had a lot to do with it. So good win there for the Blue Devils.
Yep, for sure. Let's look at the bracket over there. Regions 3 and 4 in Class 6A with Coffee County, Blackman, Lebanon, and Oakland advancing on to round number 2. It'll put Blackman and Lebanon on the road in round number 2 with those wins in the first round. And Oakland will be at home against the Blue Devils. So,
Ooh, what a consolation prize.
one thing that we'll see as a theme throughout this show with all these scores, there weren't a lot of upsets as far as seeding was concerned. I mean, a lot of 1s and 2s were able to move on, so that there were a couple that we'll get to here shortly. Keeping on in 6A, Clarksville 47, Overton 14. The Wildcats on a bit of a hot streak. They're now 8-3. A big win for Clarksville at home over Overton, avenging a week 1 loss to the Bobcats.
Yeah, that's their first home playoff game win in 15 years for the Wildcats.
Jamar Carnell, 189 yards and 3 touchdowns for the Wildcats. They ran for 419 as a team to advance to round number 2. Overton's season ends with the Bobcats finishing at 6-5. Cane Ridge, no trouble with Gallatin, 48-0 as the Ravens advance to the second round. It was Ravens asserting their dominance all night long, 10-1 now for Cane Ridge as Gallatin's season ends with a 4-7 finish. Smyrna, a 27-3 winner over Hendersonville. The Bulldogs improved to 9-1 with that win as the Commandos end with a 4-7 mark of their own. Beach really had no trouble. McGavock, 49-22. A couple of late scores for the Raiders made that a lot closer than the score actually indicates as the Bucks improved to 10-1 on the year. McGavock's season ends with a 7-4 mark in the Class 6A first round of the playoffs. Here's that bracket updated for you now. Smyrna at Beach next week. Clarksville at Cane Ridge. Clarksville knocked Cane Ridge out last year in the first round. They'll run it back in round 2 this time.
Yeah, and you know Cane Ridge has got that game up on their board. This is part of what Coach Woods was wanted to do was get. I think that's a game that he's looking forward to.
Yep.
But that Smyrna Beach game, that looks like that's going to be a defensive gem there.
Seems like it'll shape up that way, but then again, you never know how those things evolve.
Absolutely, you don't. But I mean, that two of the region's best defenses there facing off. There ought to be some plays, if nothing else.
Yep, for sure. All right, Centennial Falls at Bartlett, 46-28 as they end their season with an 8-3 finish. The Panthers improved to 9-2 and will advance to the second round. Brentwood 17-7 and home over Collierville as the Bruins improved to 8-3, while Collierville will finish with an 8-3 mark as well. There's one of the upsets we were talking about. Germantown knocks off top-seeded Ravenwood 30-20 as the Red Devils improved to 9-2, and Ravenwood ends their season at 6-5. No Chris Parson again for the Raptors, and they never led in this ball game. Germantown led the entire way, 30-20, as the Red Devils knock out the Raptors. Houston 27, Independence 10, as the Eagles will fall to 5-6 and end their season on the road in the first round. It's Brentwood, the only regional team left in this bracket, as the Memphis teams go 3-1 between Region 7 and 8. Brentwood on the road at Bartlett, and Houston will host Germantown in round number 2.
Yeah, it appears that COVID lag that they had from a couple of years of not being able to play is starting to fade.
Yeah,
and so those Memphis teams are pretty dangerous.
Yeah, it's they're starting to catch up a little bit now, and Williamson County found out the hard way.
Yeah,
yes, they dropped 3 or 4. Before we get going, let's hear a bit from our sponsors at Fifth Gear Technology Concepts.
In today's business world, it can be expensive to maintain a staff of experienced and knowledgeable IT personnel, especially for a small or medium-sized business. You don't have the time to monitor your own systems or stay up on the latest cybersecurity or technological solutions while trying to service your customers. That's why you should contact Fifth Gear Technology Concepts. Fifth Gear is an award-winning managed service provider that can manage your business needs with local and responsive IT support services. Fifth Gear specializes in fully managed or co-managed IT support, cybersecurity, cloud solutions, and superior customer care that can fit your budget. Call today and learn more at 615-606-3121 or visit us at fifthgearconcepts.com. Fifth Gear Technology Concepts, the latest insights and information in the world of IT.
Continuing on with the scoreboard from round number 1 into the 5A bracket. Now, Mount Juliet had no trouble with Lincoln County, 43-6, as the Golden Bears moved to 9-2. 242 yards rushing for the Golden Bears and 29 carries. CJ Danian had a touchdown pass and a touchdown reception in this one. Nolensville 41-3 winners over Wilson Central. The Knights now 11-0 in the year as the Wildcats fall to 4-7 with their season-ending loss. Colby Walton 246 passing yards with 2 touchdowns. Samson Johnson had 3 touchdown runs on just 7 carries. So a productive night from the Knights lead running back there. Page 48, Green Hill 21. The Hawks were trying to avenge a loss in the quarterfinals last year. Wouldn't happen as the Patriots in control throughout, winning 48-21. Page now 9-2, and Green Hill's season ends at 6-5.
Yeah, 480 yards, I think, of total offense for Page. I think they went on like a 35-0 run somewhere between the late first quarter and the late third quarter.
Yeah. All right, so Page will travel to Mount Juliet next Friday, and Nolensville will host White County, and strong rusher Malachi Dow will head to Nolensville to face that defense.
Yeah, I believe he had like 280 yards rushing this week against Franklin County. So Nolensville's going to Taylor Wine's going to have to show up big in that game, I believe.
Another upset in seed at least. Portland 11-7 over Southwind. The Panthers go on the road to Memphis and get it done for their first playoff win since 2004. Portland now 6-5 as they end Southwind's season with a 7-3 mark. Munford knocks out Northeast 36-18. The Eagles will finish at 4-7. Munford still unbeaten with an 11-0 record. Springfield up to 8-2 now with that win. Actually, I think it's 8-3. 27-7 over Memphis Central, and the Yellow Jackets advance no matter what their record is. Memphis Central ends their season at 5-6. So it's Portland, Henry County, and Springfield on the road at Munford in round number 2.
Don't count Wes Inman's team out there with Portland. They're playing some pretty good defensive ball right now. But I think the interesting thing is going to be that Devin Crenshaw is back for Springfield, and that's going to be an interesting game against Munford.
Yep, and have to head out to West Tennessee to tackle them on the road. Those long road trips we like to talk about every week in the postseason.
Yeah.
Portland heads over to Henry County for a rematch of their game that was kind of one-sided in the Patriots' favor in the first meeting, but we'll see if they can bounce back in round number 2. On to Class 4A, Red Bank knocks out Macon County for the second straight year, 21-14 this final. Tigers finish at 8-3, Red Bank 9-2 with that win. East Hamilton, the same score over to Cobb County, 21-14 as the Hurricanes knock out the Tigers and end their season at a 6-5 mark.
Yeah, it's a game where the time of possession was totally into Cobb County's favor. They just ran the ball. I think they passed the ball maybe once, and it was late. They limited East Hamilton to 8 first downs, but they couldn't overcome some mistakes that they made. But on the other side, Kobe Barnes rushed 55 times for 312 yards for DeKalb County.
If I remember correctly, that is one shy of a state record that was held by James Magic Moore from Stratford back in 2019. So that's an interesting note for the number of carries that Colby Barnes got. I think the state record is 56. I'll have to double check that. But
I remember we were at that game.
We actually were. Yeah, it was in that range, though. So
yeah,
big night from Colby Barnes, but it's not enough as DeKalb County falls and ends their season at 6-5. So it's Upperman at East Hamilton and Red Bank at Stone Memorial out of Region 3 and 4 in Class 4A, as our local teams, Macon County and DeKalb County seasons, both end in the first round. Other side of 4A, Creekwood battled Hardin County hard all night, but a 14-7 loss will end the Red Hawks season at 7-4. Hardin County improves to 7-3 with that win, and they'll advance on. Lexington all over Greenbrier 40-6. The Bobcats fall to 5-6 and fall out of the 4A playoffs with that loss. Pearl Cone, no trouble with Jackson Southside, 38-0 as the Firebirds now 9 consecutive wins after that 0-2 start, and they'll be back at home next week. Bracket looks like this. They're at home against Hardin County, the Firebirds are, and Marshall County will hit the road to travel to Lexington in round number 2. On to the 3A bracket. Cannon County falls at Loudon 31-7 as the Lions season drops to 4-7 with that loss. Loudon improves to 7-4 and advances to round number 2, where they'll travel to Giles County, and McMinn Central will head to Sweetwater in the second round in those brackets in Class 3A. Smith County, no trouble with Sycamore, 41-0. The Owls take their playoff opener at home as they now improve to 10-1. Sycamore's season ends at 4-7 with that shutout loss. All right, Scott, let's fire up some more highlights, shall we? You guys were over at East Nashville with the Eagles facing White House. So let's pull some video here. Aiden Cooper puts White House on the board first. 36-yard field goal makes it 3-0 in the first quarter. On to the quarter number 2. Frank Gordon finds a crease and gets loose through the White House secondary. A 27-yard touchdown run to put East Nashville up 6-3. They went for 2 and didn't get it. This is before the end of the first half as the Eagles trying to drive and extend that lead. We're going to see DeAnthony Lanier make a fantastic catch on this Zach Beard toss. Great catch in traffic by Lanier. Puts them in scoring range, but the Blue Devils did hold and keep it at 6-3. White House gets back in front. It's Kenny Holt that'll find the end zone here. 18-yard score for Holt coming right at you, and then we'll find him in the end zone.
This is what happens when they go after your camera person on the sideline.
10-6 White House looking to pull it upset in the East Nashville, but Zach Beard finds the end zone. 2 yards out there. They add the 2-point conversion. East Nashville survives 14-10.
Not the result you're looking for tonight, 14-10, but your team stayed with them the whole way. They played them tough. I mean, what was it like coming into this game knowing they had a high-powered offense, and how did you slow them down?
It's just a credit to our seniors, to our team, man. They bought into the game plan. It's Friday night, you got to play the game. People can write whatever they want to write, statistics show whatever, but every Friday night you got to play. Our kids bought into that. They came in here confident. They played their tails off, fought to the end. Ball just didn't bounce this way.
Here with Anthony Lanier after East Nashville's win over White House here. Apologize for the band, but hey, I guess everybody's excited.
Yes,
Talk to me a little bit about the game tonight.
Man, the game, it was a hard-fought game. So we knew that we should not come in here down them at all. Anything can happen at any moment, just like in the game when that point happened. And I'm just glad we didn't get down on ourselves. We held our heads high and we kept fighting. Hard-fought game.
Well, they came out and they kind of took it out early. What did Coach say to you guys on the sidelines about keeping your head up and staying in the game?
Coach Mall, he always tells us one thing, and that's just to keep our heads up and keep fighting. The game ain't over till that clock hits 0. So we stuck to that plan, and we did good.
Okay. Walk me through that catch, because that was a tremendous catch.
Yeah, man. I just ran the route as hard as I could, gave it 106.
Very tough victory for you tonight. They come out and start dictating. It seemed like they started dictating the pace early. What did you do to kind of counter that?
Man, my defensive staff, man, they've been holding us together. Offensively, we've been struggling the last couple of weeks. We've been averaging 30 points, and last couple of weeks we've been 14 and 15. We moved some players, and for the betterment of the program and things of that nature, and we got to make some adjustments. The kids got to step up. It's neither here or there. Taking it away from them, they're a well-coached team, and they're tough-nosed, they're hard-nosed, and they're gonna run right at you. But our defense staff made a great adjustment at halftime. Make sure we slide into a certain back because they're running behind them, and so we made that adjustment. And they kept the ball away from us the whole second half. I think we only got the ball 3 times, and that's what they do. So we made too many mistakes on offense, and we didn't capitalize. But like I said, the defense held us down for the last couple of weeks, and we got to get back on track offensively.
Yeah, I was going to say, they get the one field goal. and after that you kind of hold them, although they move the ball.
Right.
And it seemed like your defense was stepping up. But you did get that score. It was a nice run by Frank Gordon. What did that do for you guys at halftime, going in with the lead like that?
We went, and it's big for us. It's big for us, like mentally, to focus on where we're at and understand this. Anytime you're playing right now, these teams are great and well coached. No matter the record, they're well coached. They're playing in the playoffs, so you got to come with it. And when we went into halftime, it's the momentum. And like I said, offensively made some adjustments. But like I said, I got some young guys on the offensive line right now. They need to step up, and that's been big because they don't have a lot of in-game experience. I had 3 sophomores on the offensive line, and it's like I said, but that's part of coaching, next man up, and then we got to catch them up to keep us going for the playoffs. But like I said, Zach put us on his shoulders. Traquan kind of rolled his ankle, and Zach put the team on his shoulders, and he carried us in the end zone, and he did what we expected him to do.
I was just saying, Zach, he gets that big run, but probably nothing as big as that 2-point conversion that gave you a 4-point lead.
Right.
Put the pressure on them that they couldn't go down and kick the field goal.
Right, and so that was the main focus of that, because we told them our kicker is sick, so we couldn't kick extra point. So we like what we saw on the touchdown run, and we like how they lined up, so we called it again, and we just told Zach, take us home, and that's what he did. Zach's the silent leader, and he did exactly what we needed him to do.
I was going to say, what does it mean to have a leader like Zach on your team?
Oh, it's big. Like I said, he's a quiet guy. He doesn't talk a lot. But when you need him to make a play, he makes a play. And that's big for us. And like I said, Zach's been asking to run the ball all year long, and I have not let him run the ball. But I told him playoff time, anything goes. And I just told him at some point in time, you're going to put the team on your back. And that's what he did.
Like Frank stepped up he got a couple big time throws, but I think, was it D'Anthony Lanier?
Yeah.
Made a big one there.
Once again, that's another sophomore, he's a junior with no game experience, and he has to play now. So we're down 4 or 5 starters from our offense from the beginning of the season to now. It's a different guys, so you see the numbers change. So we got to coach, part of coaching. We got to coach the next guy up and get them adjusted. But Lanier's a great kid, and like I said, he steps in and he doesn't care if he don't get the ball. He just want to play. Zach saw what he liked, made a play, and hopefully that's more to come.
Well, what do you guys got to do to get back to Chattanooga? I know that's your goal.
That's our goal, but we just got to try to win every Friday. But like I said, defensively, we're where we need to be. And offensively, man, we got to get those young guys up to speed. Like I said, those young guys up front. I told them offensively and defensively, the offensive line, defensive line take us where we need to go. We were successful last year because the offensive defensive line was tremendous. But now we got 3 sophomores, we got to catch them up, and they got to grow up. And the biggest time to grow up is in the playoffs. So that's my job as coach, is try to get them ready.
Well, thank you, Coach. I appreciate you taking time.
Always.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
East Nashville able to survive, and having to play some young kids up front. I mean, that's what's kind of plagued this offense the last couple of weeks, but it was enough in this one.
Yeah, that exactly. We've been talking on the Mid-State 48. What's wrong? What's going on with East Nashville? Well, now we know. Had some internal issues that looks like the coach is making some calls for the betterment of the team, but it's just going to take some time for these younger players to step up. But it's like D'Anthony said, he's got Frank Gordon in his ear pushing him. I'm sure Zach Beard is leading by example, and those seniors that remain have got to will these guys up the hill.
Yeah, apologies for the technical issues with the interviews as well. I wanted to make sure and address that. So 14-10 East Nashville wins over White House. They are 9-2. White House falls to 6-5 to end their season. Waverly all over Stratford 52-24 as the Spartan season ends with a 2-9 mark. Waverly improving to 9-1. Fairview no trouble with Maplewood 47-6 as the Yellow Jackets get their 8th win of the year. Maplewood's season ends at 3-8. That bracket looks like this. It's Fairview at Smith County and East Nashville at Waverly. It's what we thought it might be in round number 2. It's interesting matchups in this bracket.
Yeah, some very interesting matchups. That's Smith County Fairview game at Smith County. That's going to be kind of a contrast in, well, not so much a contrast in styles anymore. It's just going to be kind of interesting how these young players at Fairview can match up with those guys over there at Smith County. But boy, at East Nashville, their defense is really going to have another challenge this week with Easton Ellis.
Yeah, the Fairview Smith County game, also a rematch of the first round last year where Smith County upset Fairview to move on in that playoff bracket. So, East Nashville have their hands full. Easton Elliott from Waverly in round number 2. On to 2A with Trousdale County. Their run ends with a 2-9 mark as they fall at Tyner 47-14. It's their first ever loss to Tyner after 4 straight wins over the Rams in the postseason. Tyner fall and now 10-1 as they advance. Westmoreland 16-12 winners over Meigs County. A defensive struggle as we've all expected, but it's how Westmoreland finished the game that was noteworthy.
Yeah, that Westmoreland was managed to hold on to the ball for the last 8 minutes of the game. Up by 4. Got a little assistance with some calls, but mainly it was just grind it, and when it came down to it, they got a first down when it mattered.
Eagles improved to 7-4 with the win. Meigs County's season ends with a 7-4 mark with that loss. Bledsoe County shuts out Harpeth 22-0 as the Indian season ends with a 6-5 record. East Robertson all over Polk County 55-28 as the Indians improved to 10-1. Check out the updated bracket here. East Robertson at home next week against Bledsoe County, and Westmoreland hits the road to Chattanooga as they'll face the Tyner Rams in round number 2.
I think that Westmoreland-Tyner game is going to be a little bit of a battle there. I think Westmoreland, they did a really good job defensively. They're no slouch, and East Robertson's rolling right now.
Yep. Moving on to 1A, it's South Pitt all over Rippling Springs 52-17. The Bulldogs season ends with a 4-7 record. South Pitt improves to 9-2 with that one. Gordonsville 49-8 over Lookout Valley. The Tigers had no trouble with the Yellow Jackets in their first round win at home. Whitwell knocks out Joe Burns 38-13. The Red Devils finished at 3-8. Whitwell improving to 9-2. How's this bracket look at? Well, it's chalk here as well. Gordonsville on the road at South Pitt, as expected. Whitwell on the road at Clay County in round number 2.
Well, that South Pitt matchup with Gordonsville's, I think, going to be a big game there.
Yep. Other side of that bracket in 1A, Eagleville's season ends with a 45-14 loss at Dresden. The Eagles now 6-5 as they end their year. Dresden improving to 9-2. A quick look at that bracket. Dresden on to Fayetteville, who put up 75 points in the first round. That is not a typo. Moore County at McKenzie on the other half of that bracket in regions 5 and 6 of Class 1A. All right, before we head on any further, let's hear from another one of our fantastic sponsors, Miracle Auto Group.
Hi, everyone. It's Jim Galvin, Miracle Ford, your Ford dealer in Gallatin, Tennessee since 1980. Great news. Beginning now. When you need service, we can come to you.
Our mobile service van comes to you wherever you are. Whether you need oil change, lube, routine maintenance, warranty, filters, wiper blades, batteries, bulbs, recalls, and more.
Visit our website
or call us now.
Are you ready for the miracle?
Saw those guys over there on Thursday. They do great work. They serviced my car, had me out of there.
All right, good deal. On with the Division II scores, another overtime game. Clarksville Academy season ends in the extra session, a 43-42 loss to Lakeway Christian as the Cougar season ends with a 7-4 mark. Lakeway Christian had a 2-point conversion in the overtime to win this game, despite DJ Merriweather's 341 yards of total offense. I believe 5 touchdowns, is that right?
That's correct.
Oh, my goodness. Tough way to go out for the Cougars, but unfortunately, that's how their season ends. 43-42 loss to Lakeway Christian. DCA, no trouble with Fayette Academy, 48-13. The Wildcats now 7-4, ending Fayette Academy season at 5-6. Ashton Jones had 236 yards rushing and 4 touchdowns for the Wildcats in that win, and they are going back to Friendship Christian in round number 2, as Lakeway Christian will head to USJ in the upper half of that bracket in Division II Single A.
Well, yeah, they get another shot at Friendship Christian after getting it was a bad loss for them earlier in the year. So
Middle Tennessee Christian advances 45-14 over Tipton Rosemark as the Cougars improve to a 9-2 mark. They're going to be on the road at Jackson Christian next week, while Trinity Christian will travel to Nashville Christian, who had a first-round bye in the lower half of the Division II single-A bracket. On to Division II AA, CPA wins 27-16 over Boyd Buchanan. Asher Keck, 224 yards on the ground, a 62-yard touchdown on the Lions' opening offensive play. And the Lions improved to 6-5. They knock out Gary Rankin's team in the first round, a rare first-round loss for a Gary Rankin coach team at any level. But Boyd Buchanan falls to 7-4 and falls out of the postseason in Division II AA. Good Pasture season ends at 6-5. They're a 27-7 loss at home to Chattanooga Christian. The Chargers improving to 9-2 with that win. FRA no trouble with Knoxville Grace, 49-27. Another big night for Ty Clark III. I think it was either 4 or 5 touchdowns. I have to double check that number.
It's 5 is what I had. The big story for me was the defense. They held Grace to 86 yards of offense and only 20 yards on the ground.
FRA now 10-1. Knoxville Grace ends at 4-7. In this part of the bracket, round number 2, CPA heads to Los Angeles in round number 2. FRA's on the road at Chattanooga Christian, as that game was determined to be a home game for the number 2 seed out of the East region, should both of those 2 seeds advance, and they did. FRA Chattanooga Christian, CPA at Los Angeles in round number 2. Davidson Academy back to North Point Christian and back home with another win over the Trojans, 29-14. The Bears improving to 6-5 with that win. North Point Christian season ends at 6-5. DA back on the road. They'll head east this time next week to face Knoxville Webb. Lipscomb Academy got to sit at home and watch Silverdale beat ECS on their turf in a neutral site game. So some free scouting for the Mustangs, like they really need it. But they're going to face Silverdale on that turf again on Friday next week. Looking at AAA, Knoxville Catholic falls to Christian Brothers 41-27, so it's Christian Brothers at MBA. McCauley heads to Ensworth after a 42-6 win at home over St. Benedictus. The Tigers of Ensworth will get McCauley in round number 2. Pope Prep gets Kenny Minchie back, and he had a big night for them, 35-13 over Briarcrest. As the Knights improved to 8-3, Briarcrest finishes at 5-6.
Yeah, Minchie had 260 yards and 4 scores, and they managed to hold Briarcrest to 12 yards rushing and 165 passing, I believe.
Well, the Knights are glad to have Kenny Minchie back, and they're going to need him next week.
Oh, gosh, yes.
Father Ryan gives it a great run, but they cannot overcome MUS. 17-10, the Fighting Irish end at 2-9 with the loss. MUS improves to 8-3. The bracket for next week is Baylor at home against MUS. Pope Prep heads to Brentwood Academy, where those quarterbacks will duel it out on the turf there at BA. If you thought we were done with the highlights, though, we're not. A little bonus coverage for me for Thursday night. Let's head to Gallatin for this one. With Ezel Harding coming in to face the Wolves. Wolves get up 7-0 as Lane McKee finds the end zone from 2 yards out. Liberty Creek would add to that here in just a bit. Nathan Wright, another 2-yard touchdown run as the Wolves get up to 14-0 at the end of the first quarter. Ezel Harding would get on the board late in the first half. Lining up here, you're fixing to see Melvin Cousin find the end zone for the Eagles as they cut the lead to 14-6 as he calls his own number and finds the end zone for Ezel Harding. Just before halftime, Brian Rager finds McKee on this pass, a 20-yard touchdown, 21-6 Liberty Creek at the break. Rager is going to find his own number here and fights all the way to the end zone. Yeah. It's knocked the wind out of me for just a second. 31-yard touchdown, Liberty Creek.
Yeah, there was a pile up there, including Mr. Referee wound up on the ground as well.
Oh my
That
goodness,
was
yeah,
that's a heck of a facility over there. I will
man,
say that is a gorgeous, gorgeous facility. They
really is. Yeah,
uh, and their Liberty Creek will be 3A next year.
that's correct. Yeah,
Yeah.
we're waiting for these regions to drop out of the TWSAA. Whenever they do, we'll talk about the ramifications for those teams. But yeah, that facility at Liberty Creek is just awesome. It's better than it's better than some Division II facilities. Being quite honest.
Oh my gosh! And the sideline, we talked about that earlier in the year. The layout of that field, just the way that field is laid out, is spectacular.
Yep. Well, that's glad to get them in a little bit of video action at home before the end of the year. Ezel Harding, the finishes at 3-8, 3-7. Actually, both teams added that game on Thursday to get a 10th game to their schedule. So they both finished with 3 wins. They'll both be eligible for the postseason next year, and we'll talk about that in due time. That's it, Scott. We're done with the scoreboard for round number 1. Final thoughts before we head out of here.
Well, the thoughts I had was that we saw some great games. We've seen some surprises, some chalk. I think the best is still yet to come with these teams.
Yeah, these brackets are going to be pretty intriguing going on in the round number 2. Some matchups that we've been kind of expecting and a couple that we might not have. So
yep.
Curious to see how this playoff run shakes out. We've got 4 more weeks of it. So enjoy the ride. Folks, we're done. Thanks for joining us for the 615 Preps Scoreboard presented by Fifth Gear Technology Concepts. We're back with you on Wednesday with the Mid-State 48. We'll get you ready for round 2. We'll have a player of the week and lots more good stuff to come. And we're right back here same time next Saturday, recapping the scores and highlights from round 2 games. Our announcement of our spotlight game will come a little later today. There are a few games that we can choose from, but we got to talk about that first. So
yeah, a lot of negotiation.
Yeah.
Who's going where?
Right. Exactly. Thanks for joining us. We will see you guys next week. Enjoy your weekend and take care, everybody.
Hit that bell, like and subscribe.